What's up, everyone? I am back with another reaction video. I came across this the other day, and I came across this on my Twitter space. I saw a clip of this guy, and I had to check out the full video. So I'm doing a live reaction to this YouTuber called Jake Munro, very base dude, goth guy. I do have my respect and appreciation for the goth and the culture itself. And his video, What Happened to Women. So, we'll check it out. Do me a huge favor, like this video. The YouTube algorithm, YouTube space, for some reason, the platform has some issue with the like button system. So, do me a huge favor and hit that like button, see if it's working. Duly appreciate it. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think of the video. Check out Jake Munro's channel. You might get a kick out of it. Follow me on links in the description below, like my Twitch and YouTube channel, as I stream reaction videos, play video games, and do reviews. So without further ado, let's check out Jake Munro. What Happened to Women?
Women. Ooh, can't live with them? Now it is interesting how there does seem to be a drastic difference between men's political ideologies, actually how they act within these ideologies, both left and right, and also the amount of women going into leftism and liberalism, and in fact, how they act within liberalism. Because it is different. You have a liberal man and you have a liberal woman. Statistically speaking, they do behave differently.
Well, men and women on the free speech map. Average tolerance, left versus right wing, speakers by ideology and gender, 2025. I'll pause it right there so you guys can get a good look at this. And the source Fire's 2026 College Free Speech Ranking Surveys 2025 data. So in case you want to know what site he sourced. So completely unbiased. So it's like, oh, there's only like right-leaning sources. It's unfair. Just like with Jubilee videos, making sure their sources are very middle of the road. Nobody's getting preferential treatment
Within these things. Yet another behavior that is specifically tied to women and not men. Another reason why we are not the same. So when you understand these graphs, when you understand the very nature of women, it's time for us to closer study the very nature of leftist women. So if most women, or if most liberals are women, this psychological study here.
Okay. Springer Nature link. Understanding left-wing authoritarianism, mouthful, relations to the dark personality traits, altruism. I know how to say that word. Don't know why I'm I know what I'm trying to say. Golly, I don't know why I'm flubbing. And social justice commitment. Published March 20th of 2023. Altruism,
which I have already discussed, would suggest exactly what we're seeing in their behavior. Right? Liberalism seems to affect women more. Women.
Yeah, it looks like the UK is a little higher by comparison to the other countries, but by and large, men tend to take a dip in that, liberalism as time goes on. Well, women always seems to spike in the crazy in crazy directions.
Seem to behave worse within their liberalism, statistically speaking. This psychological study then shows that left-wing authoritarianism, LWA, is higher in personality traits like the dark triad: Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy. You combine these two things, we start to...
Guys, if you're still balding in 2026, what are you doing? There's an easy solution.
connect the dots. We start to realize things. We start to notice a pattern, as it were. Because we are pattern recognizers. We are noticers of these patterns. Because we're smart. So, now we know this. Now we know this information. Women are far more likely to become liberal. They're far more likely to be far more disruptive and authoritarian within their liberalism. And they're far more likely to have psychopathy, narcissism, and Machiavellianism.
You know, it's one of the things that I learned fairly recently, that most women, most, not all, and it's usually the exceptions are the ones who are raised by good, healthy male figures in their lives. Most women have rebellious spirit in them. They rarely like to listen to what you're trying to say, no matter how right you are, no matter how nice you're saying it. Most times you have to put some bass in your voice and be almost like a freaking dictator and make them not do something, because they always want to do the exact opposite of what you're trying to say, because they always, ever since Eve, and it's like this little rebellious nature in their DNA, just want to do the polar opposite of what their upbringing was, because they always want to veer off, especially when it comes to a bad boy, but they're following their emotions and roller coasters, and when those players they come across feed into that and manipulate that, they they lean super hard into it because it's exciting, and it's just like you trying to, especially if you're a father, you're trying to steer these girls in a particular direction, and it would be in their best interest to make sure you are a good model of a proper man, so you can help them. Well, I think it's still best for the father figure to be the one doing the discernment when it comes to meeting a proper boy, and so they won't have to go through all these terrible traumas or whatever. Avoid all that crap. It's like, here's a guy, he might be a little lame, but hey, he will do right by you. But no, they tend to go with the Chad and Tyrones of the world, and because they feed into that little rebellious spirit, and you see them on the little motorcycles, and I want to, do all this kind of wild stuff. And it's just like, no. And liberalism tends to also feed into that rebellious spirit, because it's free love, and do what feels right, and don't listen to the patriarchy or the father, because fathers put in structure and discipline, but that's not fun. And it's just, some girls be hard-headed sometimes. They want to do what feels right, what feels fun. Structure isn't fun, and they fall prey to liberalism that allows women to just do certain things, because it feels right. Fight against the patriarchy, all that crap.
as leftists within this. Now you apply that to the fact that most goths these days are now women, primarily. And we start to see exactly what happened with goth and why the decline happened. You get women running stuff, oh, it's over. I don't need to quote George Orwell again. What with his women are the worst of it, right? They're the swallower of slogans, the sniffers out, the nosers out, I believe is the phrase he used, of those who do not truly align with the ideology of the party that they've chosen to truly support. Basically what I'm saying is, women, narcissistic women affected by dark triad personality traits, have infested goth and made it all about them. They want to say it's all about the ideology, it's all about the politics, but this is purely just an extension of this graph right here. They're not tolerant of anything or anyone who does not agree with this. So they're not actually individuals, which is what goth is actually about. They're actually just a communist collective. Individuality is their antithesis. I've already said this before in a clip.
That's a shame. And now, first and foremost, full disclosure, I find goth girls very attractive. Maybe it's just the aesthetic. I grew up in the age when like goths and emos, it was kind of like a big thing. And Nancy Downs and Tim Burton films that have like goth girls looking very hot. Like Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman was my sexual awakening. So it's kind of like, yeah, I kind of like that aesthetic on a woman. But I do hear what he says. It's kind of like women are prey when it comes to trends. You know, I remember when Halle Berry became very popular back in the day, and she was iconic with the short hair. Then all of a sudden, within like a week or two time after like her big breakout role in, I believe it was Boomerang, the Eddie Murphy film, then boom, it was like a booming industry where all these salons, or even probably certain barbershops even, were, you know, cutting a lot of chicks' hairs off. But the problem was, you gotta have like the right head shape for that stuff. Not every girl looked good with their hair cut. And most guys want women with long hair. I like playing with the girls' long hair. I like running my fingers through it. It's nice. Because it's feminine. And that's what guys are attracted to. It's very rare you'll come across a woman who looks good with the short hair. And I ain't talking about like completely shaved, chopped off haircut. Really don't like that stuff. But that short little thing that Halle Berry had in like most of her films, that's probably the shortest, you know, at least me personally was willing to go with a woman. But even still, not every girl can pull that off. So as he mentions, Jake mentions, women are prey to trends, especially the trends that allow them to just do whatever they want with zero consequences or without full knowledge there is a trade-off. They don't understand about trade-offs. Sure, you can go down this route, but you don't fully understand all the ins and outs of it all. All you see is the positive, and you just latch onto that, damn everything else. And it's a shame that these narcissistic women are just going into the goth culture without understanding the full understanding what it means to be goth and what it was in its origins, because it's about individuality, but now it's just like, oh, you in it because it looks cool and it makes you look sexy, and it's like, sure, it makes you look sexy, but you're a poser. And most cultures don't respect posers.
Over on X, follow me on X, it's there. And you can see symptoms of this all the time. You can
Yeah, follow his links, Instagram and Twitter. You know, like the guy's pretty dope. I'm gonna lead it up to just a minute. 5, 4, 3, 2.
And you can see this kind of behavior. You can see symptoms of narcissism, narcissistic females. I said on Twitter, never underestimate the female ego. Now, this isn't like a male ego whose existence of which is presumed. The male ego is presumed, which is why they hate men so much. They assume, presume, a man has a gigantic ego. They hate this about a man because a man is right. A man is right to have an ego. We made everything. But people underestimate the female ego. They don't think it's there. They don't think it's...
You know, and I'm glad he brought that up, because once again, not all women, but I think women who post like videos on TikTok or Instagram, you know, like there's one a while ago where, you know, there's some girls talking like it's embarrassing to have a boyfriend. It is overall disgust in men that's permeating the zeitgeist. It is kind of like full of, it's not even borderline, it's definitely disrespectful, and it's just misandry. You're literally hating men. It's not like the way like girls throw out the word misogyny without understanding the full-blown word. It's like, oh, you disagree with a girl, oh, you misogynist. Or you hold a girl's feet to the fire, you're misogynist. Holding a woman accountable, you're misogynist. No, you know, because true misogyny is just hatred of all women, no matter what the circumstances are, who you're connected to in any kind of way. Full-blown misogyny is I do not want to associate in any kind of capacity with any woman, even if it's my own mother. That is full-blown misogyny. But men are using misandry the correct way, because we got multiple proofs. You can look up almost any other video where you hear like women just this other disdain towards men, and honestly they putting that disdain to the wrong places, in my opinion, because I think their disdain comes from trauma inflicted by certain guys that they chose because they fit a particular archetype that they found attractive, and they didn't use proper discernment, and they got railroaded. So now they, instead of focusing that disdain towards John or Sam, they put it on all guys, but not like all the guys. They ain't talking about the 80% of the dudes that they not seeing in everyday life. They're probably thinking like the 20% they are actually attracted to, and thinking they are all scumbags. But they just blanketed statement everything. But it's just like they don't see the 80% of dudes, but they're non-existent. The 20% that they are attracted to them, that's all guys. But I also want to point out the fact that this disdain also, and I think it's like a Sigmund Freud thing, where it's kind of penis envy. They want to throw in guys' faces about our ego. Sure, there is like a dark side to that. I'm not going to discount that. But in majority of cases, guys have a right to have an ego, because we are the ones that are out there building, doing the dirty work, you know, making sure like this, you know, society is, you know, running like a well-oiled machine. We are constantly innovators and philosophers and scientists. Well, more so. I'm not saying that there aren't girls like that in that space, but it's so few because they don't, not the vast majority of women don't care for that kind of thing. There's a very small portion of those women that actually, you know, fall into that interest. But the vast majority of men, not all, but the wide scope of men fall into those things, because we actually have to get out there in the muck and create. You know, we as men in society, the vast majority of us have earned the right to have a big ego, because we have to put in the vast majority of the work. So we have earned that right. Not saying it, they have the right to go crazy about it, but most guys tend to respect it. Michael Jordan earns his ego. The construction workers earn their ego. It's just like you're doing something for the wider society. Whether it's for entertainment or helping making sure infrastructure is working, whatever the case may be. It's the vast majority of the men who are fulfilling those gaps or these particular roles that most women don't care for. It's not that they don't want to do it or they don't have the information or whatever. Vast majority of farmers are men. Not many women out there who are eager to, plow the fields. Digging their hands in the dirt or making sure the crack of dawn, making sure all the animals are taken care of and doing what they need to do to make sure this farm is running smoothly as possible. I'm pretty sure they're doing some of this stuff, but the bulk of it is pretty much man operated. So I think it's more so penis envy, jealousy, because there's certain things that guys are just good at or better than that by comparison to the women. That's just the reality of the situation. And there's a certain level of jealousy involved. I honestly think they wish they were as strong as men, so that way they're not. Women get power. Most of them are not very nice with it. That's why they rely on their mouths to tear a guy down, because if they have the same level of strength as most guys do, they'd be quick to trying to get into a fight with us. Most of them already are, but most guys have to just take it because vast majority of them are very weaker than us. So we have to, not saying it's right, but most of us have to take the licks. They do it's not a big deal. We can just easily just grab a hold of them and sit them down, kind of like 5-year-olds trying to fight an 18-year-old. It's just the strength difference is so wide of a gap. So I think it's just some level of jealousy. There's certain things that we're able to do and able to brag about. It's just and they trying to compensate for it. I'm a boss girl. I'm an independent woman. Guys don't say I'm an independent man. Because that's kind of expected. You're an adult. You both handle certain things on your own for the most part until you're with a relationship. So you don't have to do as much by yourself anymore. And most women are overcompensating, in my opinion, and most of it is out of sheer jealousy of the guys. This is my opinion.
Real. They think ego is specifically a very masculine thing. The female ego is worse. It's more vindictive. It's more covert. It's usually mired in gaslighting. I'm actually a really great person, really. I'm thinking about everybody but myself. That's the female ego, willing to throw away entire civilizations just to look really good. To sleep.
Yeah. You gotta watch out for women like that. When it comes for men and women, you gotta watch out for women like that who will sleep soundly at night, knowing the fact that just for her own, just to look so good, to get those likes and pats on the back and praise, that eat up like candy. To an insane degree in most cases, they were willing to throw their own relationship under the bus. They will throw their own children under the bus. Some of them will throw their parents under the bus just to get oh, you're a tan girl. Oh, clock it. I see you. All these insane words of affirmation, which kind of is getting annoying. Not everybody needs this overindulgence of words of affirmation. People mostly from strangers who don't know you from a hole in the wall, and it's nauseating. To me, it's very nauseating. You don't need the constant level of praise, because like, for what? Just because you need to, be there to boost their confidence. You're not the freaking parents. You don't need to constantly like, I see you, I see you. You're a 10, girl. Why is she a 10? Because it needs to. You think she needs to feel good? Because you're trying to project? Because you don't feel good and you want to like do this whole circle jerk amongst yourselves? It's like, I praise girls who are realistic with their appearance or where their standing is in life and are fine with it. And they don't need to have their egos boosted constantly, especially by strangers, usually other women who trying to like, do this old girly girl thing, and it's completely unnecessary. It's like, you're fine being a 6. You're fine like letting the man lead. You don't care about being called a pick-me. You understand your role in life, and you're fine with it. You're doing well, and a guy is treating you well. And you appreciate other men who help in society, and you don't look at them with disgust or thinking they're always doing something dastardly behind the scenes. You have a sense of reality.
Better at night, to signal their virtues to the herd. Look at me! Look at me. Which is why then we see this exact behavior reflected within goth. Look at me, right? You've got these women who are chasing trends as goth, which is unbelievably antithetical to the entire goth ethos anyway. Wearing the same Ankh belts as each other because they all buy from the same Shein outlet, which is the same shop that TikTok uses, so you can't use that excuse. It's all the same place. I don't mind consumerism, I enjoy it. I'm a capitalist. I like capitalism. I think goth and capitalism go together. Like coffee and half, right? It's great. It works really, really great. There's a lot of money to be made selling ornate, pretty dresses to women, actually. But yes, they're trend chasers. They like to match the herd. They like to parrot the same phrases in the same way, using the same words and the same cadences, wearing the same dresses from the same places. Signaling to the crowd, to the herd, I don't like this person. As do you all. I'm just like you. It's a very performative thing, isn't it? Like TikTok.
Double check something. Making sure everything is like running smoothly. You never know. Streamlabs always giving me grief.
You see women all the time filming themselves doing altruistic things instead of just doing the altruistic thing. They film it instead. They have to put it out there. Look at me, look what I'm doing. But Jake, you're doing the exact same thing. Am I? See, some could argue that by doing this within the goth subculture is a fantastic way to get yourself ostracized by the entire subculture I have aligned with for the last 20 years. I truly, ultimately, on the face of it, don't have anything to gain from this. I'm simply just telling the truth. And herein lies the problem. Herein lies the hatred that they have for yours truly. Women, especially narcissistic leftist women, do not like being held accountable. They hate that shit. They hate being called out. They hate being held accountable. This is why they get so whenever I call them out, whenever I point out how stupid they are. Most men will take that shit on the chin, like I do. They make videos about me all day, every day, because they assume that I am going to take it like a man, which is usually the general thought process for a lot of these liberal women. I can do whatever I want, because at the end of the day, it's going to be mature men that fix everything at the end of the day, that put all the potted plants and everything and all the props back where they were so we can start filming again tomorrow. I get to do whatever I want, smash things, destroy the patriarchy, because at the end of the day, the patriarchy will still be there to make sure we're all nice and safe and everything is running smoothly.
And that's the thing, it's like, it kind of boggles the mind. And like, this needs to be studied, but you'll never figure out women. Even if you're immortal and you have 5,000 years and countless, women to study, you could probably barely scratch the surface on how women truly operate, because they're constantly in flux with their emotions, and they lean one way in 1 second, and like another second they go like a entirely different way, and not address like didn't you say like in the past, like I remember saying that. It's like you just did it like the fast, I don't remember that it just happened in the past 3 seconds, but or they just refuse to be held accountable for any kind of actions whatsoever. But it's just like he don't bring it up, but it's usually though pretty women who expect, but yeah, most women, but I see a lot happening with like the super pretty girls. Like they can get away with a lot of stuff because they're pretty, and it's like it's so smashing the patriarchy, and it's like they don't know what they're saying. They don't have any clue about what men contribute to this. So all vast, levels of society all around the world, what men, from a wide range of classes. It don't necessarily need to be just the infrastructure, but in terms of like law enforcement and emergency responders, politics and even like the dirty jobs, like the plumbers and engineers. It's like we owe a lot, both men and women, to men, just to keep things going, to have some level of structure and law and enforcement of those laws to keep everybody safe, not just the women. But when you hear the whole like smash of patriarchy, in my mind, all I'm hearing is like you're mad at daddy because either daddy wasn't there, or he was too cruel, or he didn't let you go out to too many parties, or he didn't buy you that pony when you turned sweet 16 or something like that. You just want to rage against them, and you kind of put it on all men. Or there's a guy kind of put you in your place, and he didn't like that all too well, even though you probably was wrong, and you just want to fight against that, push against that as much as you possibly can. But when the chips are down, there's always going to be some level in their brain. They know there's going to be some smuck, some simp, some naive guy they can finesse to come swoop in to save the day, because that's the nature of men in most cases, until we have to learn a hard lesson about the negative side of women's female nature, that we always want to come in and help, save, rescue, knight on the knight in shining armor to come rescue the damsel out of the bad situation, because a lot of guys are raised on that hero complex. And when you see a woman in distress, most cases we like to come in and be their savior. That is our nature, and most women know that, and the more dastardly of the women will manipulate that. So they can say whatever they want, but they know at some point there's going to be some gullible dude, usually the ones that never dated that all that much, that they can take advantage of to come in to rescue them, especially as they spend most of their 20s doing a lot of stupid stuff. But by the time they hit that wall, that proverbial wall, they will find some idiot. Either they circle back to a guy they really like but don't like them back, but either that, or they find some gullible dude that they can finesse to take care of them, or even worse, the guy they curved years ago or friend zoned years ago, and have him, who was a quote unquote lame back in the day, didn't have much, or didn't have the swagger or the gravitas to woo women like that. But when he makes something of himself, she dares to go running to that guy. And because that guy, if he doesn't have any smart dudes in his corner to give him some game, he will be played like a fiddle. And it's usually those kind of guys that fall prey to the, and they usually are young, that fall prey to the whole liberalism too, because we all grew up on the Disney Channel thing where it's like, it's the right thing to do. You know, the girls are sugar and spice and everything nice. It's like, you know, when you're young, you don't understand the wicked side the women can be if, you know, pushed to a certain degree. If they don't get their way, if they're, especially if they're really spoiled. And most guys end up having to learn the hard way, unfortunately. And a guy can go one or two ways. He can just take it, learn from it, and adjust accordingly moving forward, so he won't fall for the same finesse. Or, and which is unfortunate, end up being turned into the very dogs women complain about, because some woman did something nefarious towards this guy that wasn't that way before until he met this woman, who the vast majority of women have earlier experience in terms of like the relationship dynamics and socializing way before guys do. So by the time, like, you know, like if the ages are equal, if like the both of them are 16, the girl's already being hit on constantly, where the guy ain't getting no play at all. So by the time the girl is probably 18 or 19, she probably had like at least 2 or 3 boyfriends, if not double or triple sexual experience, depending on the nature or the situation, by comparison to the guy who probably had maybe 1 girlfriend and maybe 2 sexual partners beyond that by the time he's 18, if everything was like equal. So it's just like, it's a terrible circumstances, and guys need to have these tools, much to the chagrin of most women, because they hate this kind of content, because most of them want to be able to have that safety net, to have the guy to come save them. There'll be very little of that because guys like Jake or others out there with content like that try to give guys some game, especially the younger dudes, is like coming out of high school. It's like, watch out for these type of girls. Focus on building yourself up physically, mentally, financially, and watch out for these certain type of women. So when you're in certain spaces where you're building your kingdom, the world is your oyster. You can choose what kind of women, and they have to dance to the beat of your drum instead of the other way around, which is the natural thing anyway, because girls want a competent leader. So that means they have to dance to the beat of said guy's drum. So you can suss out at your own leisure which one is the good girl that you want to give monogamy to and your resources to. Most girls don't like that because they want to have an out. If all guys have this knowledge, these tools at the ready, and pretty much giving guys this playbook of the dark side of women, especially when it comes to other women who given like the playbook, like Pearly Things and all the bunch of other female content creators, Jebediah Bila, who I follow. It's like, here's like the nasty side of women. Guys, look out for that kind of stuff. Don't engage with that kind of women at all. I hate that because that means they will be out in the cold some years down the line where there's no dude to come swoop in to save them. And even outside of relationships, it's like when you like some plumbing issue going on in your house, who do you call? More than likely there's going to be a guy plumber, not a female plumber, to come fix your plumbing. House burned down, who's more than likely coming in to pull you out of the fire? Is it going to be that 5'6" female, or is it going to be some guy who looks like Henry Cavill to come pull you out of the fire at the detriment of his own probably life? Rely on men more than you think, and you shit on guys in a broad stroke of things, without understanding this whole patriarchy is formed by guys for the betterment of guys and women. And notice how it ain't the guys that crap it on the patriarchy, because we know realistically it helps keep society functioning. Not saying it's perfect, but it's the best thing compared to some kind of matriarchy where you think it's gonna be like the Barbie movie where everything's all hunky dory, it's all kumbaya, and life's gonna keep on trucking without any forethought. Let's get back to the video.
But goth was specifically attractive because there's the opportunity to dress up. You know, putting on makeup and fun, cute little dresses and stuff like that. They are narcissists, okay? They want to be the authority above anyone and everyone. They like to talk a lot of game. They like to go after a lot of dudes because a lot of dudes in today's culture are not allowed to respond. They're not allowed to call women out, right? That's a big no-no. You don't do that. You nasty man. You don't go after women. You leave women alone. You angry, nasty man. And your ego. Never underestimate the female ego, because it is dangerous. It is vindictive. It is...
Yeah, a lot of empires get torn down by the female ego. You're looking at like something like biblically, like Samson and Delilah, because of a greed and some degree of like, you know, social dynamics, you know, in the society at the time. You can say it was pressure. It was a fair bit of that as well, but at the end of the day, it's her choice. She ended up lopping off the guy's hair, stealing away his strength, because he dared to confide in a woman he believed truly loved him. And it cost him greatly. Women tear down empires on a whim because they felt slighted or jaded in some kind of way. Not all women. Most women are pretty doggone even keeled. Like I said, hopefully because they're raised by respectable men who taught them how to operate in life when they get older. So when they move around society, they ain't gonna be like other bird brain women out there. So you guys gotta look out for women like that and know and vet properly. So you can't be like the old days where you can just, you know, rightly assume that women are just going to be cordial and demure, graceful, feminine. Can't count on that no more. Because there's always some type of, more likely than not, it's going to be some ulterior motive. Not saying that it's all women, but you got to do extra work than it probably would have been back in your grandfather's time, just to make sure that this woman's there for the right reasons and not to see what she can extract from you. And if she feels like you're not giving her what she wants and not dancing to the beat of her drum at her beck and call, she can say, oh, he assaulted me, and have your reputation completely smeared for years. Even if you're proven innocent, your reputation is smeared for years. And it takes a lot to come back from that stuff, all because of the word of a woman, because we like to believe all women. Don't like to hold a woman accountable because it looks bad. Like women can't be wicked when at a drop of a hat.
Volatile. It's emotionally driven. And when emotions are the primary reason for acting or doing things, well, then some really terrible things are going to be happening. Men think logically, women think emotionally, and we can see that in Minnesota. We can see the way that they behave and the way that they act. These women are acting like children. They're like kids. I mean...
And boy, they hate being compared to children, even though a lot of them act like it. It's kind of weird, and that's what I'm saying, they don't have no self-awareness. If you behave something that's akin to a child, it's hard pressed for a guy to not see the comparison. Children behave erratically based on their emotions because they don't know any better. They haven't lived yet or been taught valuable lessons yet. They need structure and discipline, usually coming from the father, to set them straight so they can be productive members of society as they get older. Women, by and large, need that same structure. That's why we have the hierarchy. God, if you believe in God, but typically it is God, man, woman, child. That is the structure. God gives the man the instructions, and the guy leads and the woman follows and adheres to his authority, and she passed that along to the nurturing part of raising the children who have to listen to her. If the child steps out of line, the woman typically has to say, wait till your father gets home. That nips everything in the bud right then and there, because she knows that father will come right through that door and set everything in order. Do not talk to your mother that way. I mean it. I will put belt to ass with a quickness. Do not disrespect your mother. That vocal tone says it all. You don't even have to even put your hands on the kid. You just know the kid just knows that daddy means business. And the woman will appreciate that because she feels seen, she feels respected, she feels heard. She knows that, there's order in the house, there's respect in the house, because there's a man in the house. And that's what society, some parts of society want to tear that down, rip away the father in the house so that they can get the hooks. Certain governments or conglomerates can get the hooks in the woman and have them suck on the teat of them and listen to them, and not in their corporate bosses, and not the men in their lives, because daddy government will look after them. Daddy government doesn't give two craps about them. It will cast them aside at a drop of a hat, as opposed to the father figure who will be there for their best interests. But daddy government or whomever in these little shadowy parts of society, put out this propaganda that guys are either incompetent or monsters, and most women gobble that up without having some self-realization. Like, no, I bumped into many men, a lot of them in my family, that are very good people. They're not all out to get me, or women. Those kind of guys make a very small population of the society as a whole. And if we ever do come across guys like that, it's usually guys, good men out there, who will beat those kind of guys' asses. That kind of thing doesn't get tolerated in society. If we see it, it's nipped in the bud immediately.
Renee's quote-unquote wife was just like, I can't believe you used real bullets. It's like, yeah, we're not playing a game here. This is real life. I know that Renee was dancing to the sound of her own car horn like a child playing a game in the playground, but you're fucking with things that are far beyond anything you have considered. These are real bullets. These are real criminals that they're deporting from the country. These are all real situations where these silly, idiotic, infantile women should be nowhere near. Is it unfortunate that Renee was killed? Yes, of course it is. This is bad. I don't want people dying. I didn't know Renee personally. I don't really care. I know Nick Fuentes has far more bold words to say about her being killed, but look, I'm not going to go there. If it was up to me, she would have been at home, where she was actually before she decided to drive to the ICE raid and obstruct justice. Did those riots happen? Has there been riots? Has there been crazy riots? I wonder, liberals, leftists out there, if you are watching this, was this another George Floyd movement? Was it equal? Was a black criminal who OD'd the moment he was arrested? Toxicology reports corroborate with this. This is true. He did. He can't breathe because of the fent, George. Because of the fent. This mother of 3 or 1, because I hear 2 got taken away. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't seen any proof of this, so I'm not gonna really, go to town with that. Do the left care as equally? Have we seen entire towns burn down? Is anything on fire like Black Lives Matter? Is she in a gold casket with little cuck boys, little liberal cuck boy crying on one knee at the altar as a performance? Do we have any of this? No, because they don't value white lives as much, because they're despicable. I'm gonna read some notes I have here. Why does goth attract so many liberal women? Because it is a culture now revolving around female dominance.
Yeah, it's a shame that she died. She shouldn't have had to die. The entire situation is unfortunate. And reasonable people will say, like, okay, all parties involved made some serious mistakes. She definitely should not have been there, but because certain people want to, you can protest. Nobody, say you can't protest, but if you're obstructing, government agents trying to do their jobs as instructed by, their superiors and by the law itself, then don't be surprised if they have to enact certain things as within their purview, or their, there's some of those guys who kind of went far, like with that recent guy who died, the doctor. I think that was definitely excessive. It's just like you gotta you see it, film it, protest at a distance. You don't have to sit there and try to insert yourself thinking like you're invincible, because those agents will teach you otherwise. I'm not saying it's right. I definitely agree they can take things excessively, but you don't exacerbate the issue by leaving your home and marching all the way down there to be in the thick of it, rather than at the very least on the side of it at a safe distance, so you can still see and protest and whatever it is you feel inclined to do within the law. But when you step out of a certain boundary where you're obstructing, then it's like any police officer. It's like, yeah, they're more than likely going to yeet your ass out of there with full carte blanche to do so. And in worst case scenario, like what happened with this woman, the guy will end up, one of these guys will probably end up using deadly force. which you'll hope they would have some kind of like level of understanding that's not like needed, but it's like a split second thing. You don't know what the kind of stuff they have to go through on a day-to-day basis, like any cop. So it's like you'll think that hopefully they'll use some level of tact, but you never know. So it's best to not exacerbate the situation by messing with that line.
And admiration. Dommy mommies, goth girlfriend fetishes feed their egos, while simultaneously utilizing the subculture for financial gain by fetishizing the aesthetic for their OnlyFans. The dark triad of personality traits affects women horribly. This is true. There wasn't really this goth dommy mommy culture prevalent within goth until relatively recently. This is quite nice. This is quite alluring. If you're a
Because I think that whole dommy mommy thing, I think I could be wrong, but I think that started with like Lady Demetress in Resident Evil. I think she like really kind of like made that extremely popular, and it just ran with that ever since. Especially if a girl with like stature or this kind of aesthetic to her, typically goth. And you look at like Hela from Marvel Rivals, she oozes dommy mommy, and it's just like it's been a thing. Or even Emma Frost exudes dommy mommy, energy. So it's kind of like it's permeating the zeitgeist and is obviously infected the goth culture.
liberal leftist woman who's being affected by the dark triad, narcissism, ego. If you're being affected by these things, then the dominance that women have within goth is quite alluring, isn't it? It's quite intriguing. What do you mean, dommy mommy, and men just throw money at you? Step on me, queen. That sounds nice. What do you mean all I have to do is just parrot leftist talking points and I get likes and admiration and shares? So you're telling me I get money, I get adored, I'm seen as superior. There's no downside because there's no men to call us out? 4? Damn, that sounds like 4 very good points for yet more women to get into goth. Men are gone, they're not there, and the ones that are there are sneaky f***s. Sneaky f***s, it's a real thing. It's a zoo.
The term sneaky effers was coined by evolutionary biologist John Maynard Smith to describe subordinate males who take advantage of the opportunity to mate with females while dominant males are otherwise occupied, leading to their reproductive success. Smith, 1993. Most blue pill men are just sneaky effers practicing sexual mimicry. So yeah, it's just like it's not too different from the term dirty macking, where trying to get with a girl by putting another dude down as low as you possibly can to hopefully boost yourself up to hopefully get with the girl. Whereas with that or this term, both is not respected, and it ultimately backfires on said guy who pulls stunts like this. You can't, because they can't rely on their own capabilities of trying to pick up a girl, because it is challenging, even to the best of us, where it's just like it's a numbers game. Talk with a girl, just lean in. You don't have to sit there and put another guy down to boost yourself up. Just rely on your confidence and your own capabilities. Even if the girl rejects you, go to the friend, go to another woman, talk with her, introduce yourself, be a normal dude, and it's like it's a numbers game. At some point, you'll come across a girl who is fascinated, and you can go from there. It will help girls who try to be engaging and not like abrasive. So you can, because most women out there is like, got the nerve to complain like, why is no guys, walking to me in person and then talking, and it's like we're having a guy approaching, and it's like, well, you kind of punish most of those guys for approaching because you label them as creeps and weirdos, and you film them because they probably not as like good when it comes to like social dynamics in terms of the opposite sex, and film them at their lowest, or kind of like they're filming their L's to be put on social media to make yourself look good while trashing this dude who's trying. So, and then like, don't get me started with the whole gym situation when girls filming themselves at the gym and guys glance at you for a split second, you manage to catch him, and then now you're trying to embarrass him in front of everybody and making TikTok videos about it. So guys are just refusing to try to engage you girls because by and large you make them look horrible. You trashing their reputation. Most guys have just come to understanding like, we can't help but adjust. It's like, why bother? Of course, guys, you still got to get out there, approach these girls, just try, okay? You might not get it the first, second, third, fourth, or even the 10th try, but eventually you got to get out there. It's a numbers game. Eventually you will score one, okay? But it helps, all the rejections, this helps you with to talk with women. You might not see it in the moment, but you'll eventually get good at it. You become to know the female nature and how to talk with a woman. It's repetition. But don't be a sneaky effer. Don't be a dirty macker, okay? Because that only pushes those girls into the arms of those guys, because female nature, they tend to like the bad boys, and if you're talking trash about them, that only piques their interest. Don't be like this. Don't be a sneaky effer. Don't do that.
Logical term. The sneaky f***er. You ever wonder why men are liberal? It's the sneaky f***er. It's beta bitches bypassing any competition with masculine men by adopting certain traits that the female would like in order to mate. Something like that. I'm just reading off the top of my head. It was here, right? You read this. So I don't call them liberal men anymore. I just call them sneaky f***s. Or f***s, actually. There's also studies out there that suggest lower testosterone makes you left-wing, which then also makes you more likely to lie. There's another graph here. It's another study. Should have a look at this. These are the men that these women hang around with, beta cuck men, and their reference for men, which is why they hate them. This is goth women's reference for men. This is the men that they know. It's the subservient men. It's the, oh my God, step on me, mommy. Here's more money for your OnlyFans. Don't tell my wife. I won't, pay pig. As the decades have gone on, women now comprise the majority of the subculture, or at the very least, a higher amount of control than they did in the past. As per usual, when women gain control of something, it turns to an ego-driven, jealousy-coded dictatorship of virtue signaling, control, gatekeeping, and censorship. They all parrot the same things over and over again. Goth is political. You can't be conservative in goth. You can't be right-wing in goth. Goth is political. They keep saying these things over and over again without actually understanding what they mean. They know that if they say them, they get likes. They get accepted into the herd. They get a sense of culture and community. Which is why they keep saying it, but they don't understand it. They don't understand. I mean, there's been a bunch of people making videos of me over the last couple of months. All these girls, they keep making the same mistakes. Because of course they do. They keep misunderstanding what I'm saying. Further proving this tweet of the f***ing year.
Millennial woes. It's amazing how much leftist discourse is just them pretending not to understand things, thus making discourse impossible.
They keep making the same mistakes over and over again to try and justify their points. They have to purposefully misunderstand what I'm saying. They have to be obtuse. They have to be dull. But they don't have to be smart because they're in an echo chamber. And this echo chamber is very, very interested in maintaining a narrative where they have control at all times. You type in goth in Instagram search or TikTok search, it's women, it's all girls dancing and performing for each other so that they can fit within the collective. Look it up.
Man, I cannot tell you how many times, I'm pretty sure we all see it, that social media is a bane of our existence. It's at the detriment to young women who are doing stupid dances. It's like, I don't understand how that is even fun for them. It's just to get a bunch of other girls to like clap for them and like, oh, you look cute in your little short shorts, or dancing to Beyonce, whatever. All the single ladies, and it's like, and you're doing that with your sisters, or you're doing the mom and daughter thing. That is definitely weird. It's like women act your freaking age, and it's like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't get it. I don't know how that is even remotely fun. I'm not saying like, dancing with your girlfriends. I can see why that part is fun, because like growing up, I know girls who hang out with like sleepovers with other girlfriends, and they, dancing to like singing karaoke and dancing to like Britney Spears and just all this stuff, like watching chick flicks and yeah, I can see why that part can be fun for girls. I just don't understand why it's necessary to film yourself doing all that kind of stuff. That part, I don't understand why you think that is necessary. Why is that even fun, even remotely? It's so weird.
Us. Look at me. I'm doing the trend that you all did. I'm saying the same things you all did. I'm part of you guys. If you were really goth, you wouldn't be interested in spending time around other goths. I can't think of anything worse than spending time with a group of goths. Goth was made as a counterculture to the post-war, post-industrial age in the UK. Something artistic and eloquent, something experimental.
Thank you, UK, for creating goths. I just want to give you your just due, because like I said, I like the goth aesthetic. I respect it, especially the female goths. Like, I know what he says about the the infiltration of the goth subculture because of some leftist women, because it just looks good and it makes them look good. They don't understand what it means to truly be goth. But I still like the look on the girl, especially they kind of look like Mezumi from Death Note. Or Nancy Downs from The Craft. It's like, it's hot. It's like, I'm sorry, like, I'm a guy, I find that very attractive. When girls dress like that, I'm sorry, okay? I'm a weak. Okay? Like, I find that super attractive with a woman dressed like that, okay? Sue me. But I get what he's saying.
Chaotic. Well, now we're living in a post-degeneracy, post-woke world, and it's time for goth to adapt. To remain a counterculture, you must remain counter to the culture, as exhaustively researched by this sex and culture book that I read here. Really great read. I'm only about halfway through it, but really you should read this. Okay? This book is incredible. Absolutely amazing. I believe it was written in like 1938 or something like that. It's quite old. We've squandered too much of the equity the conservative government had created. Or men, I guess. Now is the time for goth to be conservative of Western values, when evil forces from all angles are fixated on trying to destroy it. We should not be welcoming in more people who do not have our nation's best interest to heart. At the end of the day, goth was created within this nation of the UK. It was created here. under British ideals, British musicians, British inspirations. Goth was made as a privilege provided by England. Why would we want to celebrate the downfall of this? Why would we want to welcome in the destruction of the nation that allowed this to even happen? Why do you think Goth happened here in the first place in the West? Because we have the privilege to do it. This globalist, it is not conducive to subcultures continuing. It's not. You allow a foreign alien culture to come in and exert their own version of control, which does not have separation of church and state. They don't have that. The church is the state for them. Talking about our good friends, the Muslims, here. Goth didn't start there. In fact, I don't know any subculture that has left the Middle East that did. We are privileged enough to have been given the opportunity to rebel, to have Goth, to have the subculture. So anything but a nationalist Goth is wrong. It's incorrect. I respect other nations, but not when their nation is trying to take mine. You should be proud of your own nation. You should be a nationalist. You should be proud of your nation for giving you the privilege to be able to say the dumb shit that you say, or they say, because they're not here watching this. Once Western culture dies, Goth goes with it. You understand this? You understand this. But the reason why they hate me so much is because I'm the one man who doesn't simp. It's not attractive to me. I'm the one man who doesn't simp and let them get away with everything.
Yeah, I'm American. So I'm like, say like African American, but I'm American. And I'm proud of this country. Warts and all. Not saying that the warts aren't there, and there are some serious warts. But by and large, this is one of the greatest countries in the world, if not the greatest. So, like, I'm proud, and you should have some level of pride in your country, despite you trashing it. But the country allows you to trash it, despite where certain celebrities sound like we're living in the Gestapo, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's funny how you can still say that, and no Gestapo foot soldiers isn't running to your house and yanking you out of there, or your little fancy little house or mansion or whatever. Funny how it's like this old Gestapo thing you claim it is, these stormtroopers or whatever, and it's like you're saying all this wild stuff, and notice it's like nothing's happening to you. From days on end, you spout this kind of stuff. So maybe you should have some level of pride that you can, when you say the Pledge of Allegiance, or like at these sports games, or you able to do these protests, or even be able to see your nation's capital and see like all these monuments that represent what we achieve as a nation. And you have every right to make sure that people who come to this nation are coming in legally. The same rules apply with every other country on this planet, including the UK. That's why I like those videos of Amelia, who's bringing pride to the English nation, because, like, yeah, if you want to become American or become part of the UK, the United Kingdom, do it through the proper channels. Sure, it's a long and arduous task, but it'll be all the more sweeter when you get to the end of it. Then you don't have to worry about anything else, because you are a legalized citizen, and your children and your future children's children will reap the benefits of said that. But when you You commit a crime. You just going. I will commit a crime if I just infiltrate like France. And I'm not a legalized citizen of France, and living there, doing all this stuff, irregardless if I'm, following their laws. If I'm there illegally, they have every right. It's not racist. It's not like nationalist or whatever label you want to put on it. They have that right because that is their governmental law. There's like practically every freaking country has that. It's only in like the UK and primarily the America who have its citizens so, in a funk about it. And it's like you do know that we have to have these guardrails. You can't just let anybody in. It has to have guardrails. That's what this whole system that we have in place is there for, so they can come in legally. And that's why it's such a task, because these nations don't play. You want to make sure if you're coming to this nation, you're coming in for the right reasons and you're contributing. It's just and it's not like you're throwing it in some Guantanamo Bay when you shipping them out. It's like you're going back to your country, and if you want to come back, do it the proper way. Sure, you can come back at any time. Whereas in the UK or America or whatever, you can come back any time. Nobody's saying you can't come back, but you have to do it the proper way. Okay? You don't try to cut corners. Don't cut in line.
And perpetuate the sense of dominance that they have. I don't stroke their egos. I don't inflate their already inflated sense of self-worth. In fact, I call them stupid. I call them idiots and I call them narcissists because they are. People have gotten far too comfortable calling men narcissists. Fun fact, women are also narcissists. In fact, more likely a liberal woman or a leftist woman is more likely to be a narcissist. And there's also almost exclusively leftist women within goth.
I think the most dangerous kind of people, specifically in America and the UK, are the liberal white women who just feel like they gotta, got nothing better to do than feel like they want to be some kind of savior or whatever, be on the right side of history, or just like, we don't need you, okay? Just be yourselves. Just live your life. You don't need to constantly make some kind of awareness or protest or whatever to try to save the little brown boy down the street and his from getting sent back to his country, whatever. It's just we don't need your help. You don't need to have the savior complex. And like he says, it's a very narcissistic. Matter of fact, you want to prove how narcissistic ladies can be? Take a look at their phone. And I'm pretty sure you look through their photo gallery. I'm pretty sure they probably took darn near 50 to 100 pictures of themselves within a 24-hour time frame. What's more narcissistic than photographing yourself 12 different types of angles? Look through their Instagram feed. Pretty sure it's just a lot of it themselves. Compared to a guy who probably barely took pictures of himself outside of maybe work purposes or family gatherings. He doesn't need to take 7 different types of selfies with his meal that he got at this bakery.
So there's an even higher percentage still
on a bathroom sink with his butt hanging out, doing all that kind of stuff. They ain't the guys, unless the guy is gay. But even then, it's still make a small portion of those guys. So it's primarily you'll find that a lot in women, the true narcissists, in every facet of the definition.
these women that are narcissists. Next time you watch any of these girls, right? Any of these goth chicks that you see on the internet who like to present all cutesy, who pitch their voices up a couple of octaves, by the way. Next time you watch them, I want you to see if you can spot a couple of symptoms of narcissism, or even just the dark triad in general. See if you can spot it in there. I bet you can. I bet you'll never be able to watch them the same way again. I'm just going to read this last paragraph that I have written here. Look how much I care about everything, says the leftist egomaniac. Look at me, aren't I nice? I'm inclusive and understanding and morally pure. I'm so good. These women, much like with Western culture itself, will sacrifice anything they can to something that has nothing to do with them, that doesn't care about them, in order to look good and morally superior. They're doing this with goth. They're doing this with Western civilization. They're doing this with their kids. They're doing this with the safety of women, actually. Advocating for those that are quite high in the overrepresentation of crime statistics against women. So it doesn't really make any sense until you realize that it's not about them. Why are women advocating for things that will, in the long run, actually be more detrimental to them? Why are they doing this? Why do they want criminals back out in the street? Why are they advocating for this? Why do they always stand up in solidarity for immigrants that molest children? What is this? That's so unreal. I can't wrap my head around it. I don't understand. I don't understand. Why are they doing this? It's because it's not about them. It's not about the criminals. It's not about the illegals. It's about the woman. It's about her and how good she looks doing it. That's what it's about.
It's proper enough for herself.
How she feels when she...
And I mentioned about the whole savior complex. It just... I'm pretty sure they... If I'm being generous, I'm pretty sure some of them mean well. Genuinely. But at the same time, it's just like... They need to get that face out there. They got to have, like, their name trending or, you know, their video trending or something like that. It's just all about them. It isn't about, like, the cause anymore. It's about them. And have their name trending so they can be put on, like, SNL or, you know, getting praised on the stage with AOC or, like, getting one-on-one conversations with Michelle Obama or Oprah or something like that. You know, just, you know, being like, you know, talking about their feelings on Call Her Daddy or something like that. It's just like, it's all about them, you know, at the end of the day. If you put the, you know, Wonder Woman lasso of truth around these type of women, I bet you they will give the complete truth that they do not really care. I'm pretty sure maybe to some level of degree, but not really. They just want something to do, or they feel like this is good, this looks good for them, like they're, you know, like, hey, I'm fighting for you guys. I want to be a part of the collective. I want to, like, I just don't want to feel ostracized. I want to be part of something because I got nothing else going on for my life outside of this. I feel alone or I feel ostracized in some kind of way. I want to feel a part of something because we lost that for the most part as a human species, that, you know, after, let's just say, like, maybe some might argue after WW2, but maybe after, at the very latest, like the Cold War, maybe we lost some semblance of feeling like, okay, we as society kind of, like, you know, stabilized. We don't have to hunt and gather like we probably have to used to, or constantly fight other nations or like even like other villages or whatever for resources. We don't have to do all that stuff anymore. We got comfortable. So now some level of people feel a little bit empty. We as a people need something to do, like make our life meaningful. And I think that is probably part of the issue with some of these like liberal women. They need something to do. Probably need their fathers to give them some freaking direction, probably. Or boyfriends, if they, identify as heterosexual, they need some man in their life that with good intentions for them to give them some freaking direction so they have something to do outside of going to these random protests and try to waste all their time trying to look good for the camera.
Stands in front of the man and says, actually, leave the brown man alone. Get him, ladies. The sense of power that they have. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Appreciate it. I've been Jake Munro, and I'll catch you next time. Later.
Yeah, it's a pretty good video, and I like his takes and his research. He's articulated very well. Yeah, it's about power to a certain extent with a lot of these liberal women. They feel like they've been fed this bullcrap from mostly feminism. Like they're feeling like they don't have any power. They gotta retain their power, and they think think that they can gain power either through sex or manipulation or trying to climb that corporate ladder, because they've been mostly lied to. Like they what they had wasn't power within itself, but it wasn't enough. Like the big bad man is telling them they can't do this and then the third, and they being mean and it's not fair, and it's like he's controlling and he's manipulative, and it's a bunch of bull crap. Not saying that guys truly like that out there, but the vast majority of guys aren't like that. We generally have the best interests at heart, and despite the negative things that we encounter with women, by and large, we actually want to help women because we know that you are decent people. The vast majority of you are really good women. They are very intelligent. That we want to provide and protect you, want to do good for you and by you. But you let certain bad faith individuals among your female side to infiltrate, be the loudest voices, and manipulate most of them, especially the younger girls growing up, to thinking that bad men are either incompetent or monsters. It was making it harder for boys growing up into men who try to engage with said females, and making it harder because they're very abrasive, because they thinking like, because they like to trauma bond amongst you girls. Amongst you girls, you like to trauma bond amongst each other, and it's like, my mom experienced this, and she passed that problems on to me, so now, because she had a bad experience when she was in high school, now I'm thinking like, is these guys going, like, no, don't talk to me, blah, blah. It's infectious. You get bad intel or bad faith intel to these younger girls, so now it makes it everybody else's problem when they get out into the general public. Now, ever since Me Too, a lot of women have been on this power trip. And the vast majority of them are not good with said power. Is a child wielding dynamite. It's just like, it's a shame. And little by little, things are making a shift, and more women are waking up to this kind of nonsense and the lies they've been fed through years, and it's a change for the better. Anyway, I will it's already coming up like an hour and a half, but I will see you guys in a little bit with another reaction video because I'll say that for another day because this one went a little long, and I want to play some more Marvel Rivals and learn some Deadpool before I end tonight. But I'll be back tomorrow with some reviews, and I will see you all soon. Peace. Oh, and like I said, follow Jake Munro in his videos. There'll be a couple of videos I want to check out of his in the future. But yeah, I'm probably going to start streaming a lot earlier tomorrow because not only I got reviews for you guys to wrap up animated month, but I want to do some more reaction videos as well. So in any case, I will see you guys in a little bit later as I get back to playing some Marvel Rivals. So I'll see you all soon. Peace.